The Kayfabe Crunch is kept ethical with thanks to Chilbony Grape, naturally sourced grape milk from 7 varieties of grape tree. They said you couldn't milk a grape, but our CEO fought them all the way to the Supreme Court. And now you and your family can enjoy a cool glass of Chilbony Grape on a hot summer's day. Ripe.
The Kayfabe Crunch. News.
Good news? Yes, good news. This is your Kayfabe Crunch for Tuesday, May 19th, 2020. I'm Finn, Facebuster. Coming up, we have all the latest from Monday Night Raw, and we speak to Bricayla Spotifee about the upcoming casino ladder match. But first, on this day in grappling history, May 19th, yes, wrestling fans know this day as the day that Kane's mother and his adoptive family were brutally murdered in a fire. Further evidence was later put forward by the county coroner, one Mark Calloway, that revealed it was actually Kane himself who started the fire, and now he's an elected mayor of a major city. That's okay, some people in higher offices have done much worse. And 24 years ago today was the infamous curtain call, where Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Diesel, and Razor Ramon put aside their differences for just a brief moment to answer the age-old question of, is it gay to hug your colleagues? The answer is, of course, no, but also it's very creepy, weird, and just stop touching people at work. The HR department have been very clear about that. Before we get started with the news today, I'd just like to say to the 25-year-old intern who we fired last month due to budget cuts, I'd like you to apologize for calling me heartless, or myself and my Berkeley-educated lawyers will literally murder you. Financially speaking, of course. Now, I don't want to do that, but you forced my hand by branding me as this cartoonishly evil figure. So, I'm going to need you to make a public apology, but send it to me privately so I can use it on my podcast so that I can get the traction. Thanks. And now, let's get on with the vicious Viking news. Top story, greatest wrestling match ever? Last week, we heard from Edge that he wants to face new opponents, especially now that he's vanquished his old rival in Randy Orton. So naturally, last week, Randy Orton answered his challenge, presumably by utilizing a pair of those joke shop mustache glasses in order to trick Edge into another match. But this time is different. This time, they'll be wrestling. Orton opened last night's Raw by admitting Edge was the better man at WrestleMania because he won. But then he went on to claim that no one can perform the way he can, and that he saw doubt in Edge's eyes along with all that grit. Sorry. You know when someone mentions that they have grit in their eyes and then you feel like you've got grit in your eyes? It's just... I think that got it. Okay. News. Edge arrived on the scene, admitting that last week Orton spoke a lot of truths, and that he's had a lot to internalize. Most likely the frozen food he bought 2 months ago in a panic. I know that's what I've been internalizing as of late. Frozen hummus just felt essential at the time. Edge then stated that wrestling was Orton's backup plan. Which is true, as he originally just wanted to be an arrogant sidekick for Triple H. Whereas Edge has dreamt about wrestling every night since he was the guitarist in U2. Edge finally accepted the match. And so, on June 14th, at Backlash, it will be Edge versus Orton once again. In a match that's being promoted as possibly the greatest wrestling match of all time. And we see no reason to argue. In fact, let's drop the whole possibly line and start promoting this bout for what it is. See, the people we're talking about here are 11 and 13-time world champions. Doesn't get much bigger than that. In fact, only John Cena versus Ric Flair could top this bout. But obviously, that's highly unlikely at this time. Maybe next year, though. And now it's time for your fast count, the axe-throwing contest of news.
Seth Rollins speaks for those of us emerging from the lockdown.
And I have seen the light, and I have seen it brighter than I have ever seen it before.
Billy Kay aggressively slaps Peyton Royce. And for those unfamiliar with Australian culture, this means they're best mates and everything's going to be fine.
Shayna Baszler defeats Natalya in a submission match. At this stage in her career, Natalya may need to take a whetstone to her blunt shooter.
Raw highlights racial inequality in America by having a white man dressed as a Viking throw an axe at a police officer, only for that white man to be flirted with by said officer. The Street Profits were not available for comment as they were found in a state of absolute disbelief.
Asuka has her third world championship in WWE, and her partner, Kairi, can play the recorder at a third grade level. So that's nice.
Austin Theory becomes the latest disciple of the Church of Rollins. By gathering names like Austin and Murphy, it's clear Rollins is dead set on recruiting that guy from your high school.
WWE fans rejoice as Pretty Ricky fails his tryout and will not sign with the company. Although perhaps we'll see him in AEW.
As well as the United States, Andrade is now also the champion of the Northern Ant Kingdom, Vega claims.
This man is a god among insects.
King Corbin demands his own private locker room. In his defense, that's just good public health.
And that's your fast count.
You've been counted out. You wouldn't see that in my day.
Now that the competitors for the casino ladder match at Double or Nothing have been announced, let's see who's in with a chance. Joining us now via some sort of space magic is our lifestyle correspondent, Bricayla Spotifee. Bricayla, who do you think is going to advance their AEW career on Saturday?
Actually, Finn, you mispronounced WWE.
No, I really didn't. This match is taking place in All Elite Wrestling.
Wait, there's another company? Do I have to watch that too? Honestly, Finn, when I got into the prestigious business of being a wrestling influencer, I didn't think I'd have to watch so much wrestling.
Well, let's just talk about the match, shall we? I'll read out the name of a competitor and you can give our listeners your thoughts on their chances.
Fine. Whatever.
Okay, up first, we have Darby Allin.
He sounds like some sort of skateboarder?
Spot on!
Well, nobody skates anymore, Finn. That belongs in the 70s, the 90s, and maybe the summer of 2017? Maybe.
Okay, how about the luchador, Rey Fenix?
I think you mean Rey Mysterio.
No, I really don't. Rey Fenix, one half of the Lucha Bros, with his brother, Pentagon Jr.
Okay, you're just making things up. Shapes can't be wrestlers, and it's actually gross of you to trick me like that.
I'm not. Okay, here's an interesting one. Colt Cabana.
Oh yes, he'll do very well.
Oh, so you're familiar with his work?
No, I just figured if I gave you an answer, we could move on to the next person a little bit faster. Clearly that's not the case.
Clearly. Okay, what about Orange Cassidy? Good old freshly squeezed.
What is he? Does he work at a juice bar? Oh my God, I could seriously go for a juice cleanse right now.
So, high praise for OC.
If he has anything to do with juicing, I'll be sure he's trending within the hour. I just got a DM Kylie.
Okay, so moving on. Now, this one is exciting. Luchasaurus has been announced for this ladder match.
And what is he? Some kind of dinosaur?
Exactly that.
Oh, dinosaurs are timeless, Finn. They'll never die. Cute to know they can wrestle, too.
Yep. How about Scorpio Sky?
I never trust a Scorpio. You think they're gonna love you, but really, they're just like every other water sign. They are a complete nightmare.
And his partner, Frankie Kazarian?
You can't just make up names. How do you even say that? Casa? Thank you, next.
That's almost it, other than one surprise entrant on the night. Kip Sabian is the final entrant who has been announced.
What's that? Kip? That's not a name. It's just a sound. Much like Finn. Can you, get a real name? Something like Bricayla. Then I might actually remember who you are.
Okay, well, thank you for your invaluable insight, as always, Bricayla.
Thanks, Finn. And did you get my cleavage in shot for this interview? My agent says it's very important that I do that. And sometimes they're just too big for the frame.
Well, as ever, Bricayla, this is a podcast, so...
Ugh, I need to get a new agent. Mom! You're fired, okay?
And there's just time for a quick... There isn't? Well, can you give me a heads up next time before I start to record the lead-in? This country. Join us Saturday when we'll continue to preview Double or Nothing, as well as bring you the latest from NXT, Dynamite, and SmackDown. Same as ever. And remember, you can support this podcast by heading over to Apple Podcasts or Podchaser and leave a little review. Why not use it to tell us your favourite match from this great sport? Or don't. My manager asked me to say that, and I don't care. This has been the Kayfabe Crunch, your not quite daily, not quite news, bump for the world of professional wrestling.
The Kayfabe Crunch is kept ethical with thanks to Chill Boney Grape. Our grape milk is 100% vegan and 50% freegan. In that half-hour grapes hail from sunny grocery store parking lots. It's easy to milk a grape. Simply squeeze with nominal pressure and watch as the creamy juices flow. But don't try it yourself. Buy a 6-pack of Chill Boney Grape.
The Kayfabe Crunch.